Hey Brooklyn, I'm Carolina. I'm a chef and managing partner at Comodo and Colonia Verde, and this is Chef Roulette. Let's go upstairs and chat for a minute. My dad is Brazilian. He's a diplomat for the Brazilian government, now retired, and my mother's a farm girl from Ohio, you know, full fat everything, amazing. She's been a huge influence in my love of food, for sure. I was born in Geneva and then lived in Brazil, and then we moved to New York, and then we moved to Mexico City. And so much of getting to know the country was like eating the food. I definitely think that's why like food is such a big part of my life. I ended up going to culinary school at the Natural Gourmet Institute here in New York. And health and wellness is a huge part of how I like to cook, so it really spoke to me. Hey guys, here I am at Foodworks in Brooklyn, and I'm about to find out what 5 ingredients were given to me in this episode of Chef Roulette. So let's see what we have. Brussels sprouts, butternut squash, flank steak, pomegranate, red onions. All right, let's get cooking.
Hello there.
Hey.
I'm Andy.
I'm Carolina, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Having a special delivery from Brooklyn Fair.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm so
This is
excited.
yours.
I'll see you later.
See you later.
Awesome. So, the Brussels sprouts, my favorites. Yes. We have some butternut squash. Amazing. We have the pomegranate. I'm super excited. I love pomegranate. And red onion. All right. And the steak, the flank steak. Love me a steak, so I can't wait. Put that there, separate from the vegetables, and let's put this under here. So I'm still kind of trying to figure out what I'm gonna make, but I do love a roasted veggie. So that being said, I'm gonna start with the red onion and, you know, cry a little along the way. Just gonna cut it in half because they're gonna go in with the whole, we're basically gonna roast the Brussels sprouts and the squash together with the onions. I'm gonna add it to this bowl over here, which is where I'm gonna add all the cut up veggies. I'm just gonna do that. Why don't we tackle the Brussels sprouts? My favorite. Brussels sprouts and I have a special relationship in that I probably eat them once a day. That's a true story. People at work think it's crazy. We're gonna cut off the end and then just cut them in half. And they're super healthy for you. I think quite a bit of fiber, and I think quite a bit of protein actually as well. So next we have this, which is always like, you gotta use your muscles when you're dealing with squash. I'm just gonna cut a little bit off. In this case, I'm gonna cut these into rounds and then chop them into cubes. Kind of like, what is that, ½ an inch? Maybe. And again, I'm gonna toss that into our bowl of veggies. So let's toss that, and we're gonna add salt and a little bit of olive oil. Beautiful. Yeah, just toss. So we're gonna toss this on and just spread that evenly. And we'll put that in the oven, which is already set at 400. So it's been about 20 minutes because I've been eagerly waiting for the Brussels sprouts to be ready. So let's take them out. They're looking pretty golden and tender, as is the squash. I'm a big fan of burnt things, which is probably not good for me, but whatever. So we're just gonna add that to this bowl, and soon enough we'll mix it with my secret ingredients. So the next thing we're gonna deal with is the pomegranates. What we're gonna do is essentially cut just like a little bit, like a little slit, maybe 5 times around in this case. So that's easier to break apart. And you see, voila. So we'll take out a few seeds. And then you can eat one too, it's delicious. Next up, we have the steak, finally. And we have some salt. You wanna always salt it pretty well on both sides. Kind of pat it down. And what we're gonna use is a cast iron pan. It's my favorite. So we're basically gonna coat the pan with olive oil and let it get really hot. And just let it be. Don't be like moving it around like you would. So we're not sauteing the steak, we're like pan searing it essentially. And the thing with meat is ideally you let it sit so that it just, all the flavor just makes its way around the steak. Yeah, I mean, that's looking nice. I'm gonna flip it over one more time. Beautiful, beautiful. Put it over here. So next up, we're gonna go back to the veggies. And then my secret ingredient, which is za'atar. So za'atar is this Middle Eastern spice, usually oregano, thyme, sumac, and sesame seeds, and it's amazing. I'm even gonna add a little olive oil drizzle. And then we're gonna cut the steak. It's very difficult for me to not eat while I cook, but I'm gonna behave myself. In coming up with a name, I think I'm gonna go with Middle Eastern fall salad. I mean, obviously, clearly, that's what it should be called. Hey there, Andy.
Hello, how was your challenge?
Well, you're about to tell me. So this is what I created. It's a Middle Eastern fall salad. And so we have Brussels sprouts, we have butternut squash, we have pomegranate, we have red onion, and then I added this little, one of my favorite spices called za'atar.
Well, wait.
Yeah, do it.
I'll do it. Brussels sprouts, really tender. It's really good. Also, the pomegranate gives it a little sweetness. The only concern I have is, where's the rest of it? I want just to eat it all right now. So, see you guys later.
Next, we're making a moqueca, which is a recipe I developed for Hampton's Beach House this summer. It's a traditional Brazilian dish. It's almost like a bouillabaisse, like a fish stew. So we're gonna get started by grabbing this olive oil and turning on the heat over here. And then we have some onion, which we're gonna grab. Add to the pot over here as well. And mix that around. The idea is that it becomes translucent. Obviously, it'll probably take a couple minutes. I would say like 2 to 3 minutes. And next up, we're gonna add the peppers. So for this, I added a little bit more yellow pepper, just because I like yellow pepper. Normally you would use dende oil. In this case, I'm using turmeric. Mix that around, and as you can tell, has a beautiful, beautiful yellow color. Here I have a mixture of coconut water, tomato puree, lemon juice, and I went with soy sauce. So we're gonna pour that in there. And basically let that reduce for a little bit. I would say for probably 5 to 8 minutes. And now we're gonna add the monkfish. And as you can see, the fish, it becomes a little bit white. You can tell it's cooking. I'm gonna add the calamari next. I'm gonna stir that around for a little bit longer. And then we'll do the scallops last. And we're gonna plate this. Let's see what we got. And you may have noticed I didn't add too much salt because you have the salt from the soy sauce and we don't want to go crazy, right? That looks pretty nice, right? So I'm gonna add a little jalapeno, some cilantro leaves. So here we have my take on moqueca. It's ready for a taste. No pressure as I stand here, you know, no big deal.
This is amazing.
Like it?
A little spices kick in, which is perfect.
Always good,
great.
always good.
I taste a little bit of jalapeno as a garnish. This is a great plate because all the ingredients that you were talking about, you can taste
how they're
they're there. It's perfect.